in living color there.
Recording in progress.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. First, some comments about the city. So the city in
Yeah.
general, the city of Sacramento, okay, is lacking in integrity, lacking in honesty, and lacking in trust. And I say that I'm gonna give you four quick examples and stuff. So last year, I asked about the Bay Area Receivership Group and asked about mutual housing for about 6 months. Every single um, council person, including the mayor, some of y'all face to face, and nobody would answer that question. Now you answered it later on and said they're no longer doing it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that if it takes 6 months for a whole city and a city council to answer a question and stuff, then something is not right there. Okay. Number two, the city manager. All right, we just had this thing. We just seen what happened with this city manager. So I'm not sure how y'all decide. Well, how it's decided that this person should make all of this money, and how he should be able to put his own raise on the dais for things that happen. But it was clearly a violation of the Brown Act. Now, all y'all are not rookies on there. You've been there 4 years, and there's at least three whole lawyers up there that know what the law is. But still, that was done or tried to get done. Those are two things that don't make me think that somebody is being honest with me. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm crazy, but I'm not the only one. Okay. Sean Laloe, our former city council member, another person that has $1 million house up in Granite Bay someplace, but you live over here with all these cars in there. And then the city does its own investigation and says, hey, we went and looked and checked it out, and guess what? We think he lives here. Well, okay, not only does he not live here, so I don't know the quality of the investigation and who did that or whatever and stuff, but it was not right. It was incorrect. And on top of that, the FBI is indicting him for a whole bunch of other stuff. So that tells me, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, there's a lot of stuff that's not going on right. Seems to be a little bit of corruption here. So integrity, honesty, and all that kind of stuff needs to be restored. And last but not least, and this is probably the largest one, we're talking about a $66 million deficit, and this was after COVID money came in. This was after Measure U money has been piling in. This is after, I don't know, all kind of grant monies and stuff. There's all kind, but throughout this whole ordeal, somehow we've managed, I don't know if this is a department, if it's an agency, who was in charge of keeping the checkbook for the city. Whoever that person is or department is, they need to be fired because they did a horrible job. They got a $66 million in the hole. If you gave your money to a money manager and they lost all of that money, you would probably fire them and go look for somebody else. So there needs to be some accountability to why did that happen and stuff like that. And I got to watch the last meeting when you guys discussed the budget. But that is a problem. And we're at a point now where we're either going to continue on in this vein like this because we're getting ready to have elections. We got 4 more years coming up and stuff. And what are we going to do? Are we going to continue on, give the police all of their money? Oh, and while I'm at it, thank you very much for not rubber stamping all of the money that they get and stuff. That is not correct there. You know, that's not right. Y'all got all of this money and you can't count for all of your equipment. And you got a police chief that says, we've never had to do that before. It's like, no, all of these guns, bombs, and bullets that you have in your inventory, all of them need to be accounted for and accurately. So those things right there just create an environment of like, why should we trust this government? Because these are things that are happening in real time. So those are my comments there. Now the specific parts and stuff that I want to talk about there, you can take that. I want to talk about the, well, go ahead. Let me go ahead. What was you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna respond to you. I mean,
Okay.
so
That's a
yeah,
lot. That's a lot, but it's all true.
yeah, no, and I really appreciate that because you're right. Like, trust and integrity is really important. I feel like I'm always a person of my word. Like, I do my best. If I don't answer, it's because I don't know the answer, and I want to make sure that I have the accurate answer for you, right? And if I don't know, I'm gonna tell you I don't know, right? And I'll go look for the answer. I think that's really important for folks to be honest about that. What I will share with you about the budget is that, you know, I voted no on most of all of the budgets, except for one. It was the year that those ARPA dollars came out, and I wanted to make sure that those ARPA dollars got out to our communities, right? But most of the budget, I have voted no, and I think you know why. It's because There's a reason why we're in a deficit. It's because our expenditures exceed our revenues that are coming in, right? And if you look at our budget, you already know this. The majority of our budget is in a certain amount, a certain department, right? And every year that department cost has gone up. But until we budget differently, it's going to be really hard. We can fight for like $1 million here, 2 million here, whatnot, but the bulk of the money is somewhere in the budget, right? And until there's a shift conversation around that, thinking around that, then it's going to be really tough. But I'm not going to stop the fight, right? I'm going to continue to challenge it. I think that's really important. I hear from you and so many of our members in our community, like, what about our streets? All of these other things that we have to fund, right? But they have to come from somewhere. Some of it comes from grants, some of it could come from our general fund. But we don't have the money in our general fund because all of it goes to cost of labor, staff, and rightfully so, because we have over 4,000 or 5,000 staff and want to make sure that our staff is paid well because they do really good work, like our garbage folks, our parks folks, right? And so just wanted to share that with you, right? We're doing our best to balance the budget, but there is a certain amount of concentration of where those dollars are. And I think you and I are in alignment on that. But we have to make sure that, not everyone sees the budget the way I see it on the city council. There's 9 different electeds on that city council. Everyone has their own strategy on how to balance that budget, right? And so that's what we're up against, right? Everyone has their own ways of figuring out how to balance this budget and different priorities, right? Because I always share that a budget does reflect your priorities, right? And what I'm hearing from my community, it doesn't reflect. Our budget doesn't reflect the priorities that my community has told me what they want to see. So, which is why I voted no. So, and we'll try it again next year again. So.
Yeah, and thank you for voting no. But the problem is that this is continuous and stuff. So it's like, all right, so next year we're $80 million in the hole, and the next year we're 100, and then we're trying to do some stuff and catch up. And I've been paying a whole lot more attention to these. To me, it's pretty simple and stuff. I'm pretty sure you balance your checkbook, your funds that you get and stuff. You know how much money you make every month. You got to pay your bills. You got to do this and stuff like that. So it's on a much larger scale. But to me, it's really runs down to that. What are our assets? What are we taking in? How much money are we getting from all these different places and stuff? How much money we have to pay out? And what do we have left over? And that's possible you can miscalculate sometimes, and that's why you have a rainy day fund or something like that, just in case, whoops, we had something happen. But to be over in, wait a minute, we're talking about how many million? 66 million? And after we just got this flush of money that came in and stuff during COVID and stuff like that, somebody either needs to be reassigned, fired, or prosecuted, because where'd our money go? Where'd all that money go? And I've heard sat through and stuff, people talked about how tough it is and all that kind of stuff, but still, that money is still gone someplace, and we're 66, those are our dollars, and somebody has not been good stewards of $66 million worth of our money, and that needs to change and real quick, so, but moving forward, we got to fix that. We got to fix that, and it's not just you personally, but you're all one team, and together as this team, whether you vote for it or not, this team has put us in this position. Go ahead.
Thanks.
So.
And I want to make sure we have sufficient time because I have 15 minutes left for my next office hours. So the other items that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, and so what are we talking about there?